The New York Islanders have released their schedule for the upcoming preseason. We'll break it all down for you. Plus, was this Mathew Barzal's best season in the NHL? We've got that and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Busy show ahead, but first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you can send us an email to lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You can also follow the show on X at Locked On Isles, or you could follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYRVSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders throughout the offseason, hirings, firings, trade rumors, free agency, the draft. If it's happening to the New York Islanders, we'll have it covered for you here on the Locked On Islanders podcast. And it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. So the Islanders made it official on Monday, releasing their 2024-2025 preseason schedule. And, there were some similarities to recent other preseason schedules and some differences. Once again, it is 6 games, 2 each against the 3 teams that are closest geographically to the New York Islanders. So that keeps travel costs low, keeps travel times low, and allows the least amount of disruption to your practice schedule and your training camp, which is essentially what the Islanders and most NHL teams are trying to accomplish in the preseason. So this year, the preseason will kick off on September 22nd, and all the preseason games will be 7 o'clock Eastern time starts. And it's interesting, 3 road games, 3 home games, home and home series with the Devils, the Rangers, and the Flyers. It's, what they did last year, essentially, and the year before that. Here's the twist to it, though. This year, it'll be 3 straight road games to open the preseason, followed by 3 straight home games to close it out. So, September 22nd at the Prudential Center in Newark, Islanders at the Devils, again, 7 o'clock Eastern time, the starting time for all of these games. 2 days later, on September 24th, the Islanders invade Madison Square Garden to take on the Rangers, followed by 2 days later, the Islanders travel to Philadelphia to take on the Flyers, also, again, 7 o'clock Eastern time start. Those are the 3 road games every other day, September 22nd, 24th, and 26th. Then, on the 27th, the Islanders start their home trio of games against the same 3 teams. First, it'll be the Devils at the UBS Arena, September 27th. That's a 7 o'clock Eastern time start. 3 days later, on September 30th, it's the Flyers' turn to invade UBS Arena. And then a long break until October 4th, when the Rangers come to close out the preseason. Again, a home game for the Islanders against the Rangers, 7 o'clock Eastern time start. Now, tickets are not on sale yet, but they will become available at a later date. But uh, bottom line is, mark your calendars. This gives the Islander fan some target dates. Right now, we are 3 months and 4 days away from that first preseason game. And it also gives us an idea of a couple of other things. Number one, training camps kind of open roughly a week to 10 days before that, before September 22nd. Got to figure somewhere between the 10th and the 15th of September is when training camp will open up. And then the fact that the last preseason game is October 4th, we have been told that the hockey season will start a little earlier this year, although we still don't have the official schedule release yet. But if the last preseason game is October 4th, you got to figure the 6th, 7th, 8th. Those are the most likely dates for when the New York Islanders will probably be opening the 2024-2025 regular season. All 6 games against division opponents. None of these games have any effect on the regular season schedule at all. These preseason games, or really exhibition games, are designed to give coaching staffs a look at some of their young players, give the young players a chance to play against established NHL players. And usually, what you see in the first 4 games, especially out of the 6, you excuse me, you tend to see more young players in the first 4 games. And then, after the first 2 or 3 games, some of those guys get sent down to back to juniors or back to their AHL affiliate. You'll have some guys on tryouts, PTOs, who may be invited to camp. They usually see action in the first 2 or 3 games, and then either they keep seeing action or, they're offered a contract or they're not. But essentially, the Islanders will be getting their feet wet against their 3 closest geographic and division rivals as we prepare for the upcoming NHL season. It is really encouraging, in my mind, to have the schedule released, to be able to see it there and, more or less just look forward to, hey, it's been released, it's out there, we know it's coming, and that is certainly going to be a big deal. And this is the chance you'll see in the early preseason games to watch, Maxim Tsiplakov, for example, Marcus Hogberg. You'll certainly get a chance to see guys like Matthew Maggio and Ruslan Ishkakov, assuming the Islanders re-sign him. So, William Dufour, Isaiah George, these are guys who we will get a chance to watch a little bit more carefully, playing with a mix of younger guys and established NHLers. And, I am really, truly looking forward to what we're going to see this preseason and then obviously the regular season. The countdown now can begin. You mark your calendar and you're like, okay, this is when it happens. And it gives all of us hockey fans, as the season winds down and, could end tonight if the Panthers beat Edmonton in South Florida. We start that countdown to the new season as soon as the old season ends. So lots to look forward to. The preseason schedule has been released, and I can't wait for that. We have got a lot more to get to on today's show. We'll talk a little bit about one draft prospect who may be one of the more controversial prospects available. We'll talk about why and how he may fit in with the Islanders. Plus, was this year Mathew Barzal's best season as an Islander? Quite possibly, but we'll talk about why or why not. And for our Islanders' birthday of the day, a defenseman who was with the team for 2 years in the mid-70s, but was a big part of the team's playoff run in 1975. Let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got all that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. Summertime means baseball, the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals, and more. You can bet it all on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 that you could use to bet on everything from the Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. Islander fans, use your knowledge of the NHL to bet on the Stanley Cup Finals. Will Connor McDavid score a goal in Game 5? Will the Oilers extend the series? Can the Oilers win the series? Who's going to win the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP? Who's going to win Game 5? All of these are things that you can check out on FanDuel on the app and get some great odds for. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and add a big win to your summer bucket list. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring the biggest stories to you without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So we're going to look at another draft prospect, and we've been doing this now. This is the third player that we are previewing, and I'll keep doing it. I will keep looking at different draft prospects until the Islanders either trade away or make their first-round pick. Right now, it is the 20th pick overall, and today we're going to look at left wing Trevor Connolly. And yeah, Connolly there's controversy surrounding this kid. He's 18 years old. He will turn 19 in February, a native of Tucson, California, 6'1", but only 156 pounds officially as of right now. Needs to obviously bulk up, but again, 18 years old. That's usually what's going to happen between, let's say, 18 and 23 or so. He's had 2 seasons right now for the Tri-City Storm of the U.S. Hockey League. 52 games this past year, 31 goals, 78 points, and 88 penalty minutes. The previous season, 24 goals, 47 points in 57 games, and 54 penalty minutes. The thing about Trevor Connolly, he is talented. He is a playmaker. He has been very productive, represented Team USA at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, and led Team USA with 10 points in 5 games, and helped the Americans to get a bronze medal at the World Junior A Challenge. Now, he has, again, also rather played at the World Junior A Challenge, and he's done some pretty impressive things. Scored one of those lacrosse style, the Michigan, one of those goals. Has the ability to hold on to the puck. He is headed to Providence, so going to play in the NCAA. But here's the deal. Let's talk first about on ice. He's got talent. He obviously needs to add strength and build himself back up. He's got a quick release. His shot does tend to fool goalies, and his skating is pretty good, and it's increasing. It's getting better. Knows how to work off the puck. Knows how to solve problems and maintain possession of the puck in the offensive zone. Really good passer. Sets up his line mates very well. And with his hands and his moves, he can fake out defenders. Now, look, that's one thing to do that in juniors or next year in college at Providence. It's another thing to do that at the professional level. So, that is something we have to keep an eye on. But the idea, the mindset is there. He changes direction very, very well, understands the game. I like his hockey IQ. And at times, he will try to fake guys out one-on-one. That's going to be something he has to learn. But once you get past junior, when you get into college, when you get into the AHL, and hopefully when you get into the NHL, you can't always make those cute little fake moves because they don't work as well at the higher level. Clearly, here is a guy who can be a top six forward if he continues his development, and certainly power play time is coming his way, because you give a guy with this much creativity and ability time and space to maneuver, and well, you're talking about, something that can be very dangerous. But here's the deal with Connolly. Here's a kid who really has done a lot of good things on the ice, but he's also had some issues, and they're not issues that are flagrant. He never, got arrested or anything like that, but these are things you can't ignore either. At the age of 16, back in 2022, he posted a picture to Snapchat of a teammate on the floor at a children's department of a library, putting blocks together in the shape of a swastika. And Connolly put the caption "Creations" under that. He was playing for the Long Island Gulls at that time and was removed from the team. Later apologized, said he didn't understand how hurtful that would be. There were other people who say that he was accused at directing a racial slur to an opponent during a game in 2021. Now, Connolly denies this. He was initially suspended after the allegation was made, but the California Amateur Hockey Association basically wrote in its decision that the allegation could not be corroborated, and Connolly has denied using racial slurs. He was in 4 amateur programs over 3-year period between 2020 and 2022. A guy with that kind of talent, you don't expect to be switching teams that often. So the question becomes for Trevor Connolly, how big a concern are these? I don't know if I'd call them red flags, but these incidents. And I certainly want to say you got to take racism and anti-Semitism seriously. You don't want to bring somebody into your locker room who could be disruptive and who could hurt team chemistry. So, how will that affect Connolly's overall draft grade? He is considered a top, 15 or 20, somewhere in that range prospect in this draft by most scouts. The Athletic recently had him ranked 17th overall, second best left wing in the draft. The question becomes, does the off-ice issues that have been raised, do they rise to the level that you'd say, you know what, if there's another guy who's ranked equal to him or really close to him, I'm going to go with the other guy? Or does the raw talent of Trevor Connolly shine through enough? Do you interview him and get a sense that, he was an immature kid and this is behind him? Or is he a problem? This is the decision that Lou Lamoriello and the Islanders scouting staff, they have to make that call. But Trevor Connolly, not sure if he'll be there at 20 if the Islanders hold on to the pick. But if he is, should they take him? We'll see. Again, if I were a betting man, I'd still say Lou Lamoriello is more likely than not to trade the pick. But that's all going to be up to Lou, and we'll see how it plays out. We have got more to get to on today's show. We will talk about Mathew Barzal as we continue our player-by-player review of the Islanders season. Was this his best year in the NHL? We'll talk about that. We'll also have our Islanders birthday of the day. All that coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Policy Genius. A lot of life is unpredictable, but a good life insurance plan gives your family a financial safety net to protect against some of the unknowns. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace, and it makes choosing the right policy for your family easy and quick. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million worth of coverage. Some options are 100% online and let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius helps you easily compare your options from America's top insurers in just a few clicks. Get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance policy with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com or click on the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com, policygenius.com. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. So we continue our player-by-player look at the Islanders everydayers. For example, yesterday we talked a little Samuel Bolduc. We have gotten through most of the Islanders roster. We will probably be wrapping things up here at the end of the week as far as this is concerned. But over the last three and a half weeks, we have been doing one player per day. So if you want to go back and look at some of the past players we've discussed, our past episodes are available either on your favorite podcatcher or on YouTube. Today, Mathew Barzal. Barzy with the second most productive statistical year of his career. Career high 23 goals, 80 points in 80 games. First time he's been a point-a-game player since his Calder Trophy winning season back in 2017, 2018, when he had 85 points in 82 games. Barzal had 80 points. He was a -4, 34 penalty minutes, 5 of his goals coming on the power play, 4 game-winning goals, and 20 of his assists coming on the power play. So, again, Barzal, more of a playmaker than a scorer, but career high in goals and a career high in shots on goal. He had 240 shots on goal, never had more than 179 in any of his previous seasons. That showed he was more thinking about shooting more, and that is definitely encouraging. Also on ice for 20 minutes and 8 seconds a game. That is a new career high. Blocked 52 shots and recorded 54 hits in 80 games. And no, physicality, not a big part of Mathew Barzal's game. Defensively, he still is a little inconsistent in his own zone. 90 giveaways in 80 games. Look, Barzal, he is an elite skater, can change directions with the best of them. When he is playing at his best, he uses his speed and his hockey smarts to create scoring chances either for himself or more likely for his teammates. However, there are times when he forces the issue, and that leads to turnovers that can often lead to odd man rushes the other way or giveaways in the defensive zone that can cause scoring chances. He has cut down on those instances, and that's encouraging. And the fact that he's cut back on those turnovers, uh, not just the frequency, but how bad they are, what kind of chances they set up, those things, in my mind, is why I would say this was his best season. And the encouraging thing was this: two things that really make me encouraged about Barzy. Barzal right now, by the way, 27 years old, just turned 27 a month ago, a little less than a month ago. And he's in the prime of his career. His play got better under Patrick Waugh, and this was evident even before the coaching change. Mathew Barzal and Bo Horvat have really good chemistry together. And if only the Islanders and Lou Lamoriello could bring in that third forward, that winger, a goal scorer who could complement Bo and Barzy, I think you have not seen the full potential of Bo and Barzy together if they could just find a legitimate top line scorer to team with this duo. That's all going to be on Lou, but to me, Barzal will be back next year. He will probably be on the wing. Faceoffs were never his strong point anyway, and hopefully he will build on the statistical season we saw last year. I do think this year overall, as far as a well-rounded game, was his best NHL season. I still think we have not seen the best that Barzy can be. And hopefully we will see that next year with that addition. Fingers crossed, we'll see if the Islanders can pull it off. Meanwhile, it's time now for our Islanders birthday of the day, and Monday was the 73rd birthday of former Islanders defenseman Dave Fortier, the Sudbury, Ontario native, a second-round pick of the Maple Leafs in 1971, made his NHL debut for Toronto in 72-73, but joined the Islanders for the 74-75 season and had a career-high 6 goals, 18 points, and 79 penalty minutes. The penalty minutes were not a career high for the Islanders, added 2 assists in 14 playoff games, and he was a plus 13 on those 74-75 Islanders teams that really were learning how to win. And Fortier was a tough guy. Let's not kid ourselves. After leaving the Islanders, he played for the Vancouver Canucks, had 125 penalty minutes in just 58 games for them. Finished his career with the Indianapolis Racers of the WHA and then the Erie Blades of the old Northeast Hockey League before hanging up his skates after the 78-79 season. 205 NHL games, 8 goals, 29 points, 335 penalty minutes, add 2 assists in 20 playoff games, all of them with the Islanders. One of his better games as an Islander, how about October 20th, 1974 at the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland. The expansion Washington Capitals with Ron Lowe in goal against the Islanders with Billy Smith in between the pipes. And in this game, Dave Fortier scores in the second period to give the Islanders a 5-0 lead. Lauren Hennig gets the only assist in this game. Fortier had a goal. He had already set up a goal by Ralph Stewart earlier in the second period, Billy McMillan getting the other assist. So he had a goal and an assist, 2 points. He was a +3. He had 3 shots on goal as the Islanders blanked the Capitals behind 26 saves by Billy Smith. Final score in this one, 5-0. So Fortier just a fight away from the Gordie Howe hat trick. He was not shy at dropping the gloves, and in the 75 playoffs, he certainly contributed to the Islanders' Cinderella run to the semifinals that year. So Dave Fortier, often forgotten or overlooked part of the Islanders' first Cinderella playoff run in 1975, he is our Islanders' birthday of the day. I want to thank everyone for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Everydayers, tomorrow on the show, we'll have another draft profile. Plus, we continue our player-by-player look at the Islanders. We haven't talked about Noah Dobson yet. We'll have Dauber coming up on tomorrow's show. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And, of course, let's go Islanders.